Welcome to the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment as we have another blowout in a conference championship game as the Pittsburgh Steelers get blown out by the New England Patriots and lose 17-36. And man, the New England Patriots put it on the Pittsburgh Steelers today. And it was so funny because earlier today when the Falcons won their game, I said, look, man, this Falcons team, they dominated today. And unless if the Patriots can dominate the Steelers, I have the Falcons winning the Super Bowl. And of course, the Patriots dominate the Steelers. And I have a lot of thinking to do over the upcoming week. And I will have my Super Bowl prediction probably next week on Sunday. I think that's my current plan. But if everyone's uploading them earlier, I might just jump on that bandwagon. But for this game, okay, Tom Brady, fantastic. And look, okay, statistically, he is a worse quarterback in the playoffs than he is in the regular season. And I understand that is because, obviously, the competition is much tougher in the playoffs, and that's fine. But there are quarterbacks like a Drew Brees, like a Matt Ryan now, and other quarterbacks whose career pass rating in the regular season is lower than their career pass rating in the playoffs. Okay, there are quarterbacks like Joe Flacco even that elevate their level of play in the playoffs as opposed to the regular season. Tom Brady in the regular season pass rating of about 97, but in the playoffs about 88. That is a pretty sizable difference there. But today, he was fantastic. And he had some missed throws. He threw behind a couple receivers a couple of times. But outside of that, man, the guy was on point. The guy was absolutely accurate. He and Josh McDaniels and this Patriots offense, they constructed a great game plan against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And they took advantage of this defense time and time again. And ultimately rode to an easy victory here today. They were able to get good protection for Tom Brady today. He was only sacked twice. Both of them were inconsequential. Pass rating over 120. This is going to be a fantastic game for his playoff record and his playoff statistics, although it won't help much because at this point, this is like his 33rd playoff start. But anyway, fantastic game from Tom Brady. The run game, though, not great, actually. And I know that one LeGarrette Blount run before the touchdown run was fantastic, okay? He was running. He had like 5 or 6 Steelers around him, and he was able to get like 18 yards. The funny thing about that run, if you actually watched it, the funny thing was he's surrounded by 6 Steelers, right? Like 2 in front of him, 2 on the sides, and 2 behind him. Everyone was just pushing him. Okay, so what happened is the Steelers behind him, there were probably like defensive linemen, probably like Javon Hargrave and some other defensive linemen pushing him, having a stronger force than the Steelers linebackers and safeties that were in front of him trying to stop his progress. You have to pull LeGarrette Blount, not push him. He's just going to use that momentum, and he did. And he got all the way down to like the 1 or 2 yard line. Outside of that, though, the run game wasn't great, and it's going to be interesting to see if that holds up against the Atlanta Falcons and if we're just going to have 2 quarterbacks just going at it in the passing game. Because the Falcons' run game wasn't great today either. Although we both know both these teams can run the football, I would argue the Falcons are the better rushing team. I know the Patriots finished 7th in rushing yards this season. They only had 3.9 yards per carry. That indicates to me that the only reason they're 7th in rushing yards is because they're always ahead. They're always ahead in the fourth quarter, so they just run it a lot and they get a lot of yards, but they're not that efficient. Under 4.0 yards per carry, that's just not efficient at all. So we'll see how that looks moving forward. What a game from Chris Hogan. This is a guy, former Buffalo Bill. I want to say former Miami Dolphin. This guy that's kind of bounced around the league. Of course, you bounce around and you end up in New England and you end up doing a great job because Tom Brady's there. I mean, we've seen this guy turn wide receivers that can't do anything elsewhere into stars. And today he was a star. 180 receiving yards on the same day. Julio Jones had 180 receiving yards. Both of them had 9 receptions as well. One of them, though, was more dominant than the other. Julio Jones was just fantastic. Chris Hogan was more a byproduct of the Steelers not finding him, not knowing where he was. And there was some good play by him as well, but obviously we know who the better wide receiver is between those two. Defensively for the Patriots, not a sack. And that concerns me because you're going to go up against Matt Ryan. And Matt Ryan will pick you apart dog. You're going to have to get pressure. And I think we are finally going to see, we'll see, even if the Patriots win or lose the Super Bowl, I think we're finally going to see how much they'll miss Chandler Jones and Jamie Collins in this upcoming game when Matt Ryan shreds them. Now, the Patriots and Tom Brady might still outscore them, and that's fantastic. But if you're not getting pressure on Matt Ryan, he is going to shred you for 30 points at least. And then it's going to be your job to score 35 or 40 or even 50 if you can to beat them. It's going to be very interesting moving forward. And they have guys that can do it. They have guys that like Jabal Sheard, who's been banged up lately. Guys like Cal Van Noy at linebacker who can get involved rushing the passer. Trey Flowers has been a little inconsistent, but he can do it. But they don't have that elite pass rusher. The Falcons do in Vic Beasley. And that's an edge right now that I think the Falcons have over the New England Patriots. But their secondary for the Patriots is fantastic. Okay, Malcolm Butler did a very good job slowing down Antonio Brown. Did not shut him down. Okay, he's not a shutdown corner, but man, he's very good. And he will continue to be very good in the upcoming future. He's probably a top 10 cornerback in the NFL. I think we could all agree on that. Top 5, I wouldn't go there. I'd still prefer even a Richard Sherman who can have his issues, a Patrick Peterson, and some other players over him, a Chris Harris Jr., maybe even Aqib Talib, but that's another conversation for another day. Malcolm Butler is very good. Logan Ryan had a very good game as well. Patrick Chung is good. Devin McCourty is good. This secondary, they will slow down the Falcons to a certain extent, but if this pass rush cannot get after Matt Ryan, they are in trouble. But this is not a Super Bowl preview, so let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, so what went wrong today for the Steelers? Number one, defensively, the inexperience showed today. And I think inexperience as it pertains to the playoffs is a little overrated. If it was the case, then I would think that the Falcons, first of all, would not be here at this point. They wouldn't have beat the Packers today. Furthermore, the Seahawks wouldn't have won the Super Bowl in 2013. I think playoff experience is a little overrated. But today you saw Sean Davis and what's Artie Burns, the secondary men for the Pittsburgh Steelers, their first and second round picks respectively. They really struggled against Tom Brady mentally. Okay, they just tricked these cornerbacks time and time again. And even a guy like William Gay, who has been in the league for, I want to say, at least 7 or 8 years at this point, even he struggled. And it's clear today that the Patriots coaches just outcoached the Steelers coaches today, and this entire week probably. And I know what some might say, it was the extra day and a half of rest. Okay, so the Patriots had an extra day and a half. Their last game was on Saturday. The Steelers' last game was on Sunday night, and the Patriots played on Saturday morning or afternoon. But to me, come on, that doesn't make a big difference. You can see clearly Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels, Matt Patricia, they just absolutely outcoached this Steelers team. And Mike Tomlin has been under a lot of criticism, and I don't think deservedly so. I think he's a very good coach in the NFL. If you're telling me, hey, here's your Steelers franchise, Mike Tomlin's your head coach, am I firing him? Hell no. Okay, I'll take Mike Tomlin. He's just not as good as Bill Belichick. And we already knew that. I don't know why that's a big surprise. If you're telling me before the season, hey, what is probably one of the best case scenarios for the Steelers this season, I would have said making it to the AFC Championship game, and that's what they did. They have not, they have not, to me, lowered the expectation or disappointed this season. I don't think they've disappointed too much. I did have them going to the Super Bowl before the season. Before the playoffs, I backtracked on that. This week, I backtracked on that. I said, no, I'm changing my prediction on that. But to me, this is still a good season overall. Now, in the future, like next year, let's say, okay, now they have another year under their belts for Artie Burns and Sean Davis. They're able to draft some other defensive players as well. Javon Hargrave, their third-round pick, he develops as well. Then my expectations might be then, okay, it's time to go to and probably even win a Super Bowl for Mike Tomlin. Okay, it's time to get back. Because at that point, you're looking at an AFC where the Patriots and Tom Brady are aging. And we've been saying that for 3 years, and it doesn't look like it matters, but it's still the case. So in the future, sure, but right now, Mike Tomlin gets more than a passing grade from me. The Steelers team gets more than a passing grade from me. I think this has been a good season. Antonio Brown. Now, again, I told you my picks and predictions video, I don't think he's going to have a good game. And we could argue whether or not it's because of the Facebook Live video thing or it was just because Malcolm Butler and Logan Ryan played him so well today. But I think the Facebook Live thing did have somewhat of an impact. That's just my certain opinion on that. You look at the running game, okay? So the running game today was ineffective. And the injury to Le'Veon Bell crushed the Pittsburgh Steelers today. Although I do not want to say if they had Le'Veon Bell that they would have won this game. I don't think it would. I really would have mattered much. You look at this running game today, it was pretty porous. I mean, it was pretty just terrible. Even when Le'Veon Bell was in the game, he only had 6 rushes for 20 yards. D'Angelo Williams didn't do much either. And the Patriots, they just did a great job of game planning for the Steelers run game, seeing the certain gaps in their offensive line, penetrating their offensive line, being physical, taking the fight to the Steelers offensive line at the point of attack in the trenches, and they just did a great job of that today. And again, a great game plan by Josh McDaniels, by Bill Belichick, by this New England Patriots coaching staff, which to me definitely outcoached the Pittsburgh Steelers today. And you saw what the Steelers team is when Antonio Brown can do a lot. They're not much. Eli Rogers, he ended up with an okay stat line, but he really wasn't good enough. Kobe Hamilton had a huge drop in the end zone. You also saw Jesse James is developing as a tight end, but he's not very good yet. There's just a lot of issues when it comes to the Steelers receiving core, and they miss Martavis Bryant. And we already knew that. They also miss Marcus Wheaton. I'd say Wheaton's not great, but they miss him as well. So, there are too many issues right now for this Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game. They just weren't ready. Defensively, offensively, this wasn't their year. Before the year, I thought, okay, it could be, but as the year went on, it was just evident to me that, yeah, it's not their year. Next year, it certainly could be, but this year, no, just not their year. Ryan Shazier, he had a huge penalty in this game that really hurt their team. And again, this is why I'm so reluctant to call him a great linebacker in the NFL. He still has a lot of clown in him. He's very athletic, can make some splash plays, some great run stuff, some great tackles for loss, even some great sacks, even some great interceptions. But man, he's not at that Luke Kuechly echelon yet, not at that Sean Lee echelon yet, not at that level that Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman were at. He's not an elite linebacker at the NFL level yet. He could prove to be one, and I would say he's on the trajectory to be one, but for right now, he's not, and they need him to be. In the future, they're going to need Ryan Shazier to become that elite linebacker in the NFL, and Bud Dupree, they're going to need him to be an elite pass rusher, and I've seen some progress from Bud Dupree. I think next year will probably be a breakout year for him. I'm expecting at least 9 sacks from Bud Dupree, assuming he's healthy next year, so I like this Steelers team moving forward, but this year was just not their year. So, Patriots and Falcons in the Super Bowl, and perhaps, hopefully, we will finally have a very, very good game in the playoffs, although we've already had one, okay? The Cowboys and the Packers was great. Hopefully we have another one, okay? Just one more, damn it. How many games are in the playoffs? I want to say 12, and still, I mean, we've had 11 now at this point, and actually, I think we've had 12. I'd have to check. But anyway, we've had 4, 4, and 2. We've had 10. Okay, so up to this point, only one of these 10 games have been great. Hopefully the 11th game of these playoffs is great because I'd like to have another great game other than just one in these playoffs. But I would say that this Patriots-Falcons Super Bowl will probably be great. Hopefully it will be great. The only scenario I could see where it is not is if the Patriots just for some reason just don't show up, the Falcons just blitz them offensively, or if the Patriots, they have a good control on the game, but they don't completely dominate. I don't see a scenario where the Patriots completely dominate the Falcons. I do see a scenario where the Falcons completely dominate the Patriots, and I know that's a little sacrilegious to say, but did you see what the Falcons did today? Yeah, I think they can dominate anybody on any given occasion. The Patriots today, they did a great job. But I think the Falcons, no matter what, even if let's say you're dominating them, you're up at halftime, let's say you're up, let's say 21-10. They're coming back, okay? That's just what they're going to do, especially since the Patriots don't have a great pass rush. So we'll see. I'm very excited for the Super Bowl right now. I don't know who I'm going to pick between the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. Recall and remember, before the playoffs, this is what I had. before the playoffs, I had the Atlanta Falcons and the New England Patriots. Lucky for me, I actually put a bet on this, so I'm making money off of that, and we'll see who wins that matchup that I'm pretty excited for. Will it be Matt Ryan's year to finally solidify himself as a top quarterback in the NFL, an elite quarterback, a franchise quarterback? I wonder if his contract is coming up, because if it is, he'll be due for a huge payday, although I'm pretty sure he has 2 or 3 years left. But he'll still probably ask for a pay raise anyway, very Joe Flacco-esque. And also, he will definitively mark himself as the best quarterback from that 2008 draft class, as Joe Flacco was drafted in that draft class as well. And Matt Ryan's definitely been the better quarterback in the regular season. But Joe Flacco, Super Bowl, some would argue would make him be a better quarterback than Matt Ryan overall. But that will be dispelled if Matt Ryan can get it done, get a Super Bowl under his belt, on his hand, on his finger, and we'll see what happens. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the AFC Championship game between the New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers. What are your thoughts? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out.